Hey guys, what's up? I know that it's been like a whole week since I've updated anything or even talked about my videos and what I would be doing. Last week was pretty rough for me. I didn't go see my therapist last week due to not having any funds. I have a copay that's really small, but I can't afford that literally. So today I just wanted to talk about, I have it written down once again in my bullet journal, on some things that kind of happened last week and what my thought process was. Thankfully Jaja came in here and he did his whole little run around, so now he's sitting in the box right there, so that's a plus. So aside from not seeing the therapist last week, because of the funds, I was feeling that I didn't really need to see him specifically. I felt like I needed to see somebody else, but at the same time I really wanted to talk to him about it. And I'm learning slowly how I kind of handle situations and how I react and things like that. And this is kind of like one of those fight or flight situations where I don't want to talk to him anymore. I just want to drop him and not tell him anything and literally just move on to somebody else that doesn't know anything about me. I've done that in the past, and very rare when I think about it, but I've done it. So a part of me really wants to definitely tell him what I'm going through, because that's what that's what he's there for. And then the other part of me just wants to fuck you, I'll find somebody else. Not that harshly though, I'm not mean or anything. So there's that. I've done some research. I did a little blog post about it, like a little blurb about how I was thinking of different types of therapy. CBT, which is correctional behavioral therapy. I really think I fall into that just because I've developed these really bad habits my whole life. It's not a tiny span, so I'm trying to fit everything in this tiny little box and get it done in a week, and it's not working for me. Thankfully I've realized that's what I was doing, so I stopped. Anyways, I'll link my blog post in the description so you guys can kind of read that. I don't want to go through it again just because I don't feel like talking about that anymore. I was in that zone and now I'm out of it. So somebody introduced the thought to me of going to see a psychiatrist. Funny enough, I didn't know what a psychiatrist was. We mentioned it once, maybe twice in my therapy visits, but I didn't know what they were, which is really, I feel really stupid, but everybody learns something new every day, right? So a psychiatrist is somebody that spends a lot of their time in the medical field, in terms of, like a doctor, but they're specifically designed to help people with mental health disorders. So they're the ones that prescribe the correct type of medication for you. They're the ones that will recommend the best type of therapy for you. They are the actual go-tos in terms of your mental health care treatment. And I didn't know that. I started off with just seeing my primary care physician and it sucks because I have asked repeatedly to be referred to a psychiatrist, but they never responded to that question. They're wanting to up my meds and give me something else at the same time. So it really sucks that I asked that in the beginning and I still haven't got a referral. I dug a little deeper and I found some, places over here. Hopefully I can get into their establishment, but it's like a 2-week type notice thing. So that really sucks. But I feel good about that though. I'm taking a good step towards where I need to be, and that's really hard to not really hard to say. I'm really excited to say that all the difficulties that I went through over the last 3 months, I don't think about them, and they don't really pop up. My depressive modes episodes they do, but it's not technically like a flashback. It's more of like an emotional flashback to where I feel that crippling emotion when I was in that phase, and that stays. That's the only thing that's really overwhelming. But yeah, so hopefully a psychiatrist will give me a little bit more than what my therapist is giving me, and definitely what my primary care physician is, because I don't want to up my meds, because it took me, you know, not only this whole time to develop the proper effects for it to work, but it is definitely alienating my depression, and that's not good. Like at all. So with that said, I kind of looked online. Well, not really. I wasn't actively looking. I was just on Facebook, and I came upon this sponsored ad called, we're going to talk about money for a second, because that's what I wrote that I wanted to talk about. Sorry. I cut that out because the dog started to bark, and I definitely don't want to upload that and be like, hey, skip here. That's really fucking lazy of me. But we're going to talk about money for a second, and I was really excited when I found this, because it was a really easy thing, I thought, to kind of get started and make just a little bit of money, even if it's just $20, you know, once a day. That was still income that I was getting, and I wasn't going to be picky about it. It's called Rover. It's exactly like Uber, but in a sense of you're just taking care of dogs. You walk dogs, you house sit dogs, things of that nature. It was really cool. I did a lot of research before I actually got online to kind of set myself up. They do background checks. It's a $10 fee to process the background check. You keep 80% of your earnings, and they keep, you know, the other excuse me, the other bit, other 20%. And I don't know, I read all the testimonies. I was looking on Facebook. Typically Facebook is the one to go, because everybody will be like, what a liar, this doesn't work, blah blah blah, and everybody had something really, you know, good to say, and it made me excited. Needless to say, I haven't actually finished up to the point of the background check, again with the funds, and I want my profile to look, you know, professional. I have a lot of dog photos, but I don't have something that's, you know, kind of presentable, if that makes sense. I don't want to look like some trashy kid, college kid, who is trying really hard to, you know, get funds. As funny as that is, that's literally what I'm trying to do here. I went as far as asking Facebook as, what would you think if I was to ask, can I walk your dog for money, because it would definitely benefit my mental health? And it exploded, and it still makes me happy because of how well it exploded. Like, people were contacting me left and right. They're like, yeah, definitely, you know, you can come and walk my dog, you can house sit my dog, and etc, etc, etc. And it just made me really happy. It still makes me happy. Sadly, you know, it's gonna be up in September when all of this kind of unfolds. School starts back up in September for me, so it's gonna be I'm looking forward to it. I'm not terrified of it. I wrote a lot about how I'm not able to find myself in a stable time management like habit, or how I can't do my to-do lists. Sorry, once again I was interrupted, and that was kind of a minute or 5, so I cut that part out. How funny, because I don't even remember what I was talking about. But yeah, that's the Rover app that I'm gonna try and focus on. I would definitely do Uber, but I don't have a vehicle, so it doesn't really work out that well. I can't even read. Oh, I can. It's really nicely done. I just can't read it from that angle. Oh, just kidding. Clearly I couldn't read it. So, let's see. A few weeks back, my mom had talked about us kind of having a family business working with animals. funny enough about the Rover app. But she wanted to have like her own like daycare / groomer session. She got this idea because she wanted to work for PetSmart. My mother is like super overqualified with management, 15 years under her belt. It works. Nice. Oh my god. She got a Wii, so she's really happy about that. So, and she was talking to her coworkers and stuff like that, and it really hit her, like, we have the ability to do that due to her skills and the skills that I have. I worked for a grooming salon for quite a while back when I was like 18, 19. That was a lot of fun, and I'm starting to do more research on, just therapy dogs in general. This is my point. She had brought up about how I could be a therapy dog trainer because of what I'm going through, and it's still a new type of therapy, believe it or not. It's recent. There's a lot of studies going on now. I know Kati Morton did a tiny little blurb about it in one of her videos. I'll link that down below. She's a great inspiration, and she tries to help the community out with their mental health disorders. She's a licensed therapist. Anyways, she talked about how petting a dog reduces blood pressure, which makes you, calm, and some therapists are starting to use animals as a tool in their, their treatment plans. And I don't know, it really stuck to me because like I talked about before in my other vlogs, I genuinely want to help others. I'm finally getting to the point where I feel well enough to accomplish those goals, or at least get started with those goals, and that is really heavy for me to say, but it makes me really excited at the same time. So whatever it is that I choose to do, I'm gonna accomplish them all. And that makes me really happy to say too, because I'm not big on commitment in a sense of anything that has to do with me. I can't commit to myself. I can commit to others because I know I'm helping them and I feel, useful and I feel helpful. I don't feel like, a piece of dirt under somebody's shoe. I know it's really weird to say, but that's just how I felt. I wanted to find some sort of validation in others, whatever I can do that would validate myself in terms of helping somebody else, or like really helped me. But I never took care of myself. I never did anything for me. I never committed to myself. So I'm slowly learning that process because that's important. I talk about self-care and I do my self-care videos because they mean so much to me, and I really want to voice that they should be important to you as well. Don't stress about the small things. I'm not going to be like cliche here and be like, oh, your life is short, because to me it's really not. I'm still in my 20s and I've been dealing with this my whole life. However, it wasn't until now that I actually got help. So I don't regret anything in my life. I don't wish I did things differently because I accept it all now, and there's nothing I can do. My past is my past, but I had a long, thoughtful, happy life at the same time. I got to do things. I wasn't, stranded somewhere or anything like that. Granted, I did have my moments, and, I do have this disorder, but it doesn't hold me back. And I think that's what a lot of people envision around that stigma, that if you have a disorder, you're kind of just like that fucking ugly emo kid in the back of the class that doesn't talk to anybody, that doesn't interact with anybody, and they don't do anything, and they just like hiss at you. That stupid cliche thing. That's not the case. There's plenty of people out there that are beautiful and active and, do things with themselves, but at the end of the day, they are dealing with that type of disorder, and it's a lot of pressure on them. It's excuse me, it's just a lot, and that's what I hope to accomplish around this stigma. But helping others in any way that I can would be great, which is why I'm doing a lot of research for a therapy dog trainer. Excuse me. Or, you know, kind of like a therapy trainer in general, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a dog as far as I know. But I'm not too drawn to that one like I am with the phlebotomy. I would prefer to work in an institution that works with clinical research. You know, I've talked about it before, and that's pretty much what I want to do right now, but if I can do that on the side, you know, I definitely will. It's the same thing as getting any other degree. Even though it's a certificate, it can take up to 4 years for you to get that certificate. So, you know, I'm kind of weighing my options here. So there was that idea that I wanted to talk about. And back to the self-care, I'm trying to put together like a self-care challenge. I follow some blogs that kind of post every day like, oh, remember to, you know, take care of yourself, and you can do these things to take care of yourself. Even though that they're reminders, it's not technically something to me that really pushes people to do these things. Me personally, I have to talk myself up, and I physically have to like make myself do it. Like words can't even describe how hard I have to push myself to do things. And it feels really stupid for me to say, but it's hard. Like I feel like somebody is literally dragging me to do these things. That's the best way I can describe it, but it's like in my mind. And it's really shitty. So if someone tells me that I should get up and try fucking green tea with a certain type of, you know, additive in it, I would probably sit there for like 30 minutes telling myself like, what is the pros and cons of me getting up from whatever I'm doing or wherever I'm sitting and going to do it. You know, I think that's how everybody is when they give out advice. That advice isn't really taken in, it's not absorbed, and it's not done. So we're just kind of throwing out words in hopes that somebody will do them, is how I feel. I've given out a lot of tips, and I would like to assume as advice, because a lot of people have contacted me when I first started to come out and be open about my treatment. Hopefully, I think some of them, you know, didn't really shut down my advice or anything, but I'm thinking more and more about doing a self-care challenge. How I'm going to present it, I'm not too sure yet, and I have a small list going. Self-care isn't, you know, really narrow. It's actually very, you know, open. It's very out there. You can take anything that you want that would specifically help you. Excuse me. And that's all that matters. So getting out there to get the, you know, information and see what other people did is the fun part, but presenting it in a sense where hopefully you can, you know, absorb and learn from that is like the hard part. I've read a lot of self-care tips in terms of like hygiene, which is why I did the hygiene one first, the 5 self-care tips. People don't realize that, you know, not taking a shower is a lot of energy. So it's time, it's commitment, and you know, it's a lot of energy involved. Me personally, I would sit in the shower for anywhere up to 2 hours, and I would just sit there in the water, and I wouldn't even bathe myself. Like I would wait until right as I feel the energy to do that, which would be like towards the end of the 2 hours that I've been in there. And then I would get out and I would literally just put clothes on, hopefully, you know, clean clothes. I have it divided, I'm not dirty, but I would put on clean clothes, and I would literally go back to what I was doing, which it would be me laying on this bed or laying up in the loft. Excuse me. Whatever it may be. I'm literally gonna die here. Much better. So yeah, that's why I did that, because I don't think people really saw those small tasks as something that can really benefit them and make them feel better. So I'm working on that. I hope to present that here probably within September. I talk about doing a lot of things, and like I said, I'm really excited about them, but I hope that I can stay committed to them. I'm doing some studying now to prepare myself with my old textbooks. Actually, they're not even old. They're new textbooks that I never used in high school. Everything else was just a rental, and I sold it back to Amazon and blah, blah, blah. So I'm just kind of going through that to put myself back into the practice of school. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's literally all I wanted to talk about. Just to recap, why I didn't go to therapy, a psychiatrist, the Rover app to make some money, talking about wanting to be a therapy dog trainer, therapy trainer, and how I want to do a self-care challenge. Those 4 things took like God knows how long this video is. I bet you it's gonna be like 20 minutes again. So yeah, I have plans to do another video today, so we'll see how that goes. I slept really well, but I also slept the whole day away. I woke up at 4 p.m. today, so that was a bus. I woke up around 2 and my phone was just lit up with voicemails. So yeah, hopefully I can get that done today. If not, then it's set up for tomorrow, and we'll go from there. I don't think I have anything else to say. No? Okay, I'm going to end it now. So, thanks for watching. Any sort of tips that you can give me in general, or if something that you want to see as a self-care challenge, or if you just want to talk to me about what you do for self-care, I would love to hear that. Interacting with you guys is like the best part of it all. I'm trying to get out there and meet new people, so don't be shy. I have been where you are. Trust me, I know how it feels. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Yeah. That's embarrassing.